too often we equate ourselves with God. We bring him down to our level. And, God is God. He's not human. He's infinite. He's immortal, and we are not infinite. We're finite, and we are mortals, all right? And so, again, when you come back to the trust issue, can I trust the immortal God or not? And there's this great story in the Bible in John chapter 9, about a blind guy. And he'd been blind from birth, and the disciples come along and they ask the proverbial question, is he blind because of something he did or his parents did? Because they just always associated a physical ailment, leprosy, whatever, with sin. This has to be, sin here to have this kind of situation. And if you just fast forward it, we do that too, and bad things happen, we think, we're being punished, we're being punished, all right? So Jesus makes an interesting comment. He says, he's blind because the Son of Man has use of him right now. Now just stop for a moment and think about that statement. This guy was blind for 30-something years because the Son of God had need of him to glorify himself? That seems a little arrogant, don't you think? Well, it's God. and he's the pot maker, and we're the pots. And he can make us and design us any way he wants to. Yep. He can remake us. He can do whatever he wants to. But the pot never gets a vote. All right? We don't get votes as pots. The pot maker gets all the votes. And if you put that in context, our God is God, and we are the created. He's the creator. Yeah. So he has all the rights and privileges over our lives if he's made us in his image, but he still doesn't give us give us rights. And I think one of the things that we confuse are individual rights with the sovereign God and who he is. And we don't understand that relationship very well, because we often think it's my right that I have this car. It's my right that I don't have a life of havoc and stuff going on. And God just kind of looks at us and says, you know what? You don't have any rights. I'm your God. I'm your creator. And I'm going to use you any way I want to. And we can say, well, that's not fair. Well, it is. Think about it this way. If you want fairness with God, if you want justice, then, go to him based on your good life and say, okay, Lord, here I am. And he says, okay, your only requirement is to be perfect. If you want justice, be perfect, and I'll give you judgment. To which we'd all shrink in our shoes. I mean, he goes, I don't want that.
Correct.
Well, what do I want? I really want his mercy. Yeah. I want his forgiveness. I want his acceptance of me in the midst of my failings and frailty and sins, all right? So if you think about the blind guy, Jesus healed him, even though we never know his name. We never know this guy's name. But 2,000 years later, he's still ministering to people in the context of John chapter 9, as Jesus, in that moment, not only healed his blindness, but glorified himself as the Son of God to bring credibility to himself as God's beloved, long-awaited Jewish Messiah. Yeah. So this blind guy for 30-something years was waiting for Jesus to come along so God could use him to glorify himself, Jesus Christ. Yeah. And think about it. Do you think the blind guy would have changed that role for anything in hindsight?
That's true.
No, I think in heaven he's just saying, wow, I was the blind guy that gave Jesus an opportunity to glorify himself. Look at life that way. When God pulled you up and restores you in some way and helps you bring strength and encouragement to other people, it's a blessing.